Are Empire melee horse cavalry any good? This time I'm covering the Empire Knights, Reiksguard, and Knights of the Blazing Sun. Let's blaze right in! Empire Knights cost 850 to recruit for 213 upkeep per turn. For this you get 60 entities on Ultra with 6,480 health between them, so that's 108 per entity. Armor comes at 110 with bronze quality cavalry shields, so 30% chance to block missiles, even bullets. The armor is on the high end of the cavalry spectrum. Leadership is 70, very respectable, and speed is 78 with charge speed of 108, equal to Chaos Knights. Melee attack begins at 26, and this is not a high number, but it is not atypical for a shock cavalry unit, and this is the mass-produced budget version as Knights go. Attack interval is 5.1, a common number with lance-wielding riders, and the interval is certainly relatively slow. No splash damage. Melee defense is 30, which is very standard, neither horrifically anemic or excellent. It gets the job done to a point, but anything with a bonus versus large tends to hit often. Weapon strength is merely 30, with base 21 and armor piercing 9 for damage, though it's a half-decent AP number. Charge bonus is 48, which is still a lot more than your basic melee attack and weapon strength, so if at all possible, you want this unit charging in. But the number is not so high as to be at all exceptional. Remember, budget version. Mass is 1000. There is no special sauce, and remember, impact damage is a consolation prize for losing an attack roll modified by a charge bonus. It's something, but what you want is for entities to be damaged by the weapon at max strength, not simply tossed around. Reiksguard cost 1150 to recruit and 288 upkeep, substantially higher, with 6,960 health spread between 60 entities for 116 each. You'll see these kinds of minor improvements throughout. Armor is 120 with shields, identical to the Empire Knights. Leadership is 75, speed is 78, so unchanged. Melee attack is 34, so 8 higher. Attack interval is 5.1, so unchanged. Melee defense is 31, so 1 better. Weapon strength is 40, split 28 base and 12 AP. That's a 25% increase, so it's far from garbage. Charge bonus is 62 in this case, and mass is 1000 again. The TLDR is that Reiksguard are absolutely worth using and abusing if Karl Franz is your legendary lord, because he brings extra spices to the table. But otherwise, don't get me wrong, they're better, but not so good that you need to force the issue with a special building. Now, this is the standard take. If you have the room to work with and have other bases covered, why not get them? You do you. Knights of the Blazing Sun aren't as rare as hen's teeth as they were in the prior game versions, but you still don't tend to spam them unless Talabecland is yours. It used to be much more excruciating to acquire them. Base is 1200 to recruit for 300 upkeep, but that will be modified by your campaign circumstances. For this, you get 60 models with 6,960 health between them, a number that sounds vaguely familiar. Anyway, 100 armor this time, bronze shield with 30% block chance, 70 leadership, 78 speed, melee attack starts at 40, and is, of course, flaming attack. This can be a great boon, or you could be fighting Scarbrand and will regret your fealty choices. Attack interval is 5.1 again. Melee defense is down to 26, and weapon strength is 42, split between 29 base and 13 AP. Charge bonus is 78, and mass is 1200. In other words, even though the other two count as shock cavalry as well, this is a charging unit on par with Chaos Knights with lances for raw charging ability. You should apply it in an army with the same mindset. Tripping over each other, they are held back a ton, but one or two free to do beautiful charges into the enemy's back can utterly devastate the foe. So it's a specialized tool, and I say that chiefly because it has the worst melee defense of all three, so it will take that much more of a beating when it's not allowed to disengage and charge again. If it can, brilliant. In the Empire General Redline skills, Spirit of Horse applies to all three, which is part of why I restricted the video to them. 3 pips get to a max of plus 9 armor and plus 9 flat charge bonus. Not like there's anything wrong with this. It gets a little more complicated at rank 7. Empire Knights fall under Strength of Hardship, so they get plus 5 leadership, plus 5 melee defense, and 15% spell resistance. But Reiksguard and Knights of the Blazing Sun get Taste for Battle, granting plus 5 melee attack, plus 5 melee defense, and 10% physical resistance. So, if you have a high-end army like this, there really is specialization with the quote-unquote elite versions of the Knights. In the tech tree, Warhorse breeding reduces upkeep by 5% and recruitment cost by 15% for the 3, which is wondrous also. This is good because that's all you get. Having said that, without even looking harder at the Warhammer 3 state, I can tell you that the Talabeclan special building isn't the only one that affects cavalry in the Empire. So, fret not. A determined player can find ways to squeeze better ranks for fresh recruits and other benefits. So, how do you use these cavalry units? Well, here's something I want to emphasize at long last in this video series. You're supposed to use them in one way, but armor ranging from 100 to 120 without the redline skill buffing or other tweaks makes them nigh invincible to many early units in the game if they are regular infantry without much armor piercing or special anti-large ability. Even though this is supposed to be a hammer, any of these units is one of the best anvils in your roster, occupying space far more effectively than a single hero or a steam tank. Moreover, the relatively high leadership means that once they break once or twice, they still come back to fight until they truly can't anymore. In some situations, and I'm thinking specifically of aiding the ally battles done through the Imperial Authority rework dilemmas, a last-ditch Empire Knight charge in the back of a unit late in the fight can literally be the difference between victory and defeat. You'd think they're Skaven on horseback for how they come back from routing. I know it's an extreme example, but still. Understanding that they will melt in the face of something like Iron Hail Gunners, these cavalry units are still the natural bane of archer lines. Unlike when I played them a ton back in Total War Warhammer 1, 78 speed is downright Speedy Gonzalez, and if you're charging, it's up to Roadrunner level. Often such a soft target melts so fast you're trying to use the last bits of the charge bonus running into a second unit and at least bogging it down. And against missile units, bogging them down is half the battle. That is good, because prolonged melee is not where the knights shine. No, where they shine is when they're operating with friendly infantry or, and this is important, or playing ping-pong with fellow cavalry, pulling out, recovering cohesion, and charging back in at full force. Yeah, they'll get tired, but when it works, it works. This is how you get maximum power out of the units. They charge, 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 until the battle is won or all is lost. 1. It's a style. 2. While you're doing this, you're disrupting the enemy's fancy plan with a 1,000-pound weight to the face. I've half-joked sometimes that half of battle is showing up. Empire Knights on up. These guys show up, and they often reach where you need them the most, in time to do serious good. Greatswords will catch up eventually. The Knights will catch up now. That is their true advantage. Beyond that, the usual caveats apply. You'll never get the absolute most out of them without things like magical assistance, heroes, your lord putting a large hammer on the scales of battle, or bashing the scales entirely. That said, there is one lesson I want to emphasize as I end this video. This style of cavalry is all about aggression. Yes, you need to try and not charge spears from the front, but short of that, it's aggression, including, mind you, charging unbraced spears from the front as they foolishly try to chase you. Pounce on every advantage. Mercilessly attack any point of weakness, deny the enemy comfort, delay, disrupt, and destroy. Take care and have fun running down the Emperor's foes. They obviously had it coming. And by it, I mean big long lances on big, loud horses.